Always remember, the opinion you follow should be your own. Just consider the things stated here to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online.
I got to talk. I got to tell what I feel. I got to talk about my life as I see it.
Hey, what's up, Mike?
How are you, Phil? Good to be back here on the podcast with all you guys out there. And can you believe that it's already the end of January? It's like we're like 1 month through 2025 already. You know, it's time flies, boy. I'll tell you.
Yeah, I made a post on New Year's, and the music I used was by Steve Miller. And I just think it's a song that was made in the 70s, but it just rings true that time keeps on slipping into the future.
Oh, that's a good song. And the funny part is, you mentioned music. I am like, I'll listen to a song and I'll be like, wow, that's a good song. And I'm thinking like, well, it's kind of new. And then I'll look at it and it's like 18 years old or something. You know what I mean?
Oh, bro, I'm happy to see like 18.
Yeah,
there are songs and I'm like, damn, that's 40 years old.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Mike,
Woo.
you said you said you had nothing in particular that you wanted to discuss, and I'm about to just go off the dome on you, okay?
Oh, good. All right,
So,
let's take a walk down into the dome.
I have no idea where this is going to go, but I got some hypotheticals for you.
All right.
Okay. So, you know, over a lifetime, there's been a bunch of movies where a person does like a body swap.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like a
Yes.
kid may switch with his parent or something like that.
Yeah.
Or somebody goes into like some kind of time warp and they switch. So here's my question.
Oh,
If you were at a sporting event, right?
okay.
You went to the restroom and the stall next to you was some kind of vortex like in one of these movies.
Yeah.
And you were going to switch bodies with somebody. And you had to pick. And this is who you get to pick from.
Oh, gosh.
You're going to take over the life of Trump, Musk, Zuckerberg, or Bezos.
Oh,
Donald Trump, Elon Musk, Zuckerberg, and Jeff Bezos.
I was really hoping you were going to give me Travis Kelce or something so I could hear Taylor
No,
Swift.
that would have been too easy.
Yeah, exactly. Musk, Trump, Bezos, or
And let me
or
throw
Zuckerberg.
something in there because you are a very logical, scientific, like thinking person.
Yep.
Do not consider age and health. So whoever you become, you'll be healthy and you'll live a long life. So that's not a consideration in this.
All right, that just ruled out Zuckerberg then.
Yeah, like I'm saying, it would have just been automatic. Who's youngest? Who's in the best health?
Exactly. That's kind of what I was going along that line, actually. Wow.
They're all rich, so I mean,
Yeah. Rich doesn't count. You took age out of it. So, and obviously they're all famous. So, that is
they're famous in different ways for different type of things.
all right. For me, I wouldn't want. Okay, so I'm going to take Zuckerberg out of there. And the only reason I'm taking him out is because I would compare him to Musk in a way because they're both social media guys, kind of sort of.
Oh, that is not what I thought you were going to say. But
okay. I don't know what you thought I was gonna say, but so I think I'd take him out. I'd probably have to take Donald Trump out. And the reason I say that is because, boy, that's a job that I've never been interested in. I don't understand how anybody is interested in politics from a standpoint of wanting to be in it. You know, I mean, it's one thing to be interested in it, like culturally or from a news cycle or whatever, and just follow it along and see what happens. But man, I wouldn't want that job. I wouldn't want to be in any kind of power of. I just wouldn't want it. So that leaves me with Musk or Bezos. So here's a funny thing, Phil. Those two men each has one of my favorite things in the whole world. For those of you that know me out there, know that we're on Starlink right now, and I think it's the greatest invention that's ever happened. So I am obsessed with Starlink, and I've always liked space and space exploration. So there's a lot of good Musk qualities there. And then on the other side, my favorite thing is Amazon. I buy everything through Amazon. This whole truck was built from Amazon.
Mike, I've been dealing with Amazon since all you could get was just books from them.
That's right. Me too.
And I was totally happy with them just with books. I thought that was just the greatest thing.
Exactly. I mean, to think about how he changed the world. Amazon single-handedly kind of got rid of, and I know they're not both gone, but remember Borders and Barnes and Noble. And I mean, it became, those stores became so, it was the beginning of the end for bricks and mortar. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely.
Right.
So it sounds like you picking Jeff.
Well, here I am saying that I like space and I like space exploration, and I'm thinking Musk, but I mean, obviously Bezos is also doing it. I kind of forgot because
let me add this too. When you become this person, you're going to have their mannerisms. You're going to take on that person's personality. So don't think you're just taking over their life. You're going to be that person.
Okay.
So if you're Trump, you're going to be loud and boisterous. You can say what, you know what I mean?
Well, I'm already loud, so I don't have an indoor voice. So, boy, that's hard because I personally like Musk a little bit better. And the reason I say that is because he just says it like it is. He's quirky as hell, right? I mean, he's pretty far on the spectrum. He's just, he's socially inept. Let's put it that way. He's all over the place. But I kind of like him better than I like Bezos. But you know what? Okay, I'm gonna go with Bezos. I think I would like to be Bezos, and I'm gonna say why. Because Bezos, by and large, is all of those things that all those other guys are, but he is in reality way more retired than the rest of them. He kind of spends a lot of time on his yacht and flying around and doing his own thing. He's not Donald Trump's sidekick. He's not getting beat on like Zuckerberg is all the time. Zuckerberg is like that guy you want to just punch in the face all the time. I don't know. So I'm going to go with, and he's not my favorite guy of those four guys, but I think I'd rather be Zuckerberg. I think I'd rather be Jeff Bezos.
Oh, I get it, and I'll just cut to the chase on my choice. It would have been Jeff Bezos also.
Why? Why for you, Phil?
It was real easy. Like I said, I'm taking over their life, right?
Yep.
Okay, I've read about these guys and how they grew up, and basically the other three were betas in grammar school and high school. They were when I was growing up, we would have called them goofies.
Yep.
They were goofies.
Yep.
Jeff Bezos falls in line with Musk and Zuckerberg as being maybe a nerd or a geek or something like that. But he ain't a goofy. I remember when he first hit the scene and they were interviewing him and he was on 60 Minutes and he was just still selling books. It hadn't even blown up like how it is now. he didn't come off as like no punk. He just wasn't aggressive. He wasn't what you think of. So, and here's another thing. I feel like if they were all at their peak and you matched them up in fights, Jeff Bezos would whoop them.
Oh, there's no question about it. There's no question about it. He's in the best shape. I think his mindset is better than the other three.
And the other three were ostracized. They were the kid that you picked on in school.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it was, I don't know. I don't want to ever have that experience.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen how the way you grew up and how you were treated affect people.
Yeah.
A lot of those stories, I don't have them. So, and I don't want to have them because I've seen how a person will be 50, 60 years old and they'll still be reminiscing about something that happened to them in high school.
Yeah. Yeah.
So mine is Jeff Bezos. And another reason is out of the three, this is going to sound kind of like an oxymoron, but he's the only quiet money out of the four.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
You know what I mean? He ain't quiet, but he's the quiet money out of, I want to be the quiet money.
Yes.
That kind of goes into, I remember last week we were talking and you seemed really confused as to why people strike out against rich people and the powerful or whatever. Because it used to be a rule of etiquette that make all the money you can, stay humble, shut up.
Right.
And that's the difference between old money and new money. New money wants you to know. They want to be on social media and everything. And it's distasteful to the masses.
Yeah.
So I'd rather be Jeff Bezos. He's in the 1%, but he shuts up.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, he spends most of his time on his yacht.
He got the baddest wife.
Yeah, yeah, yep. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, well, we're in agreement on this, Phil, then. So we're both going to go into a phone booth and come out as Jeff Bezos.
So let's take this a step further, Mike, and then we'll move on to something else.
Okay.
If Trump, Musk, Zuckerberg, and Jeff Bezos were born into a low-income household,
okay,
and attended a public school in the inner city, who do you pick to get the furthest in life? And would that person have gotten as far as they've gotten? No hedging your bets. So again,
I like this. This is a good game today, Phil. I like this.
If Trump, Musk, Zuckerberg, and Jeff Bezos were born into a low-income household and attended a public school in the inner city, who do you pick to get the furthest in life?
All right, I'm once again I'm going to throw Zuckerberg out of this equation because it's not going to be him. It's not going to be him. Yeah, I'm not even sure he makes it through first grade without getting killed. So he's out.
He might have self-deleted.
That's right. That's true. All right. So now we're back to Bezos, Trump and Musk. I mean, there's a couple arguments. Let me give you a couple sides to this. I mean, I would lean towards Bezos again, only because he might be able to be quiet and casually get through it. Meaning, like he's not going to be Bezos.
Okay,
he might make it through by being kind of a shadow. Let's put it that way. However, on the look, I can give you justification for all three. Let me give you Musk's justification. He has a quote foreign background, right? So he might be a little bit more meaning like he's not originally not American, right? So he has a little bit more of a broad.
But we're saying he's born here, going to a low.
Yeah. No, I understand. Well, I mean, but you still have the same personality in mind. I'm assuming, right? We're talking.
Well, it's your argument. If you're asking me, I'm thinking.
Okay. Well, my argument
that everything you're saying about him in Europe is him growing up in a certain environment and in culture.
Yeah.
So
well, my argument for him is he might get a hall pass, only based on his being on the spectrum, and maybe he gets protected by the guidance counselor. I actually
not at a low income school.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point, Phil. I'm going to go way out on the line here. I'm going to say, I don't know. You're probably not going to be on board with this, but I think my money, I'm putting it on Trump on this one. And the reason I say that is because Trump is a deal maker. He can move factions of people around in different cliques and different things, and whether it's on the up and up or not, he can bring people together. And I think his bombastic nature, he's gonna command some presence. I think people are afraid of him.
I think that it would be the exact opposite. And that's why this is a good scenario, because the reason why he's able to be all of the adjectives that you gave is he's always in a position of power or always has leverage. I've never seen him turn something around where he didn't have the leverage. He's always got an edge, which is cool. Totally cool.
Yeah, and right now it's a good example of that.
In this kind of environment, he won't have none of that. He gonna have to stand on what he is, and I'm thinking he wouldn't. No, I disagree totally. Matter of fact, I think he'd get punked. I think he'd get punked every day. He ain't like, he's tough with a bodyguard. He's tough with a Secret Service agent. He's tough on TV. Matter of fact, I think I think Musk would fight before Trump would fight somebody. Matter of fact, he fights.
So are you picking Musk?
No.
Okay.
I'm disagreeing with, because you keep taking what they are under the conditions they are and taking those qualities, and that's the point, is that most of the stuff they get credit for, once you take away the leverage, the power, the money, the nepotism, the government, or whatever, a lot of these guys that they're like, he's great, are very mediocre. So I was just attacking that.
Well, my only thing with the Trump thing, I think I was more focused on that he's a scrapper. I agree that
I don't think he's a scrapper.
Yeah, I think he is. I think he's kind of quick on his. I think he's. I don't disagree with you.
You're thinking about it in a different environment. In his environment, he is exactly that. Where I can like, I'll give you an example of something. Okay. Did you see when he got off the airplane with Newsom in California?
Yeah.
Okay, did you really pay attention to what happened? Okay, when you get off, watch this again. When he comes down, he shakes Newsom's hand, and Newsom pulls him to him and says, and gets like a inch or two away from his face and says something, and then Trump tries to pull his arm back, and he pulls it back again. My point is, mano to mano, he ain't that dude. And people don't actually like feel like he's intimidating. They feel like he has things to intimidate you.
Right.
He's in
a position of power. Yeah.
Right.
Sure. Okay.
All right.
So strip all those away, Phil. What do you think?
So did you pick who you were Jeff Bezos again?
No, I mean, I didn't really pick.
Okay, you got to pick first, Mike. Okay,
I
I'll pick.
don't.
Since you picked the first one, I'll pick first this time. I'm going with Jeff Bezos again.
Why? Because he's
Jeff,
normal and quiet.
normal and quiet, and this is one of the main things that you got to have in the environment I described that these guys never had to deal with is you could be the smartest and the most talented, but if you can't get people up off you,
Mm-hmm.
none of your future will happen. And I think out of the four, Jeff Bezos is the one who could, in physical situations, protect himself the best and would protect himself. Because like Trump, he's a tall guy, but I believe he's easily punked.
Yep.
I think out of the four, Jeff Bezos is the least likely to be punked. He's the most likely to defend himself, and he's the most intelligent one to get out of and be away from bad situations. I think out of the four, Trump would be trying to hang with the homeboys.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And he'd end up getting into he'd end up locked up in jail, and he might not even done anything.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't argue that because Bezos is, like you said, of the three of those guys. Because I'm throwing out Zuckerberg.
Oh, and Bezos is jacked.
Well, he is now. I
right
think
now.
Before he was, yeah. But yes, of the three of them, if you put the intelligence level together, I would say that throws Trump out, and Bezos and Musk, but Musk is a wild card. You know, he's super book smart and or not, maybe not. He's not even book smart. He's weird smart. I think Bezos is intelligent enough that I think I agree with you on that. And honestly, he's the one that exactly he's going to avoid conflict the best.
Look how
he is now.
Look how he just danced from the Democratic Party and just slid on over to the Republican Party, and nobody saw it.
Nope. Nobody saw him. Everybody saw Zuckerberg do it, though. He didn't. I mean, Zuckerberg didn't pull that one off very well. I mean, at all. Come on.
Now, that's something I give Trump credit for. He puts people in situations where they have to basically crawl to him.
Yep. Yeah, which is ironic. It's ironic.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because the majority of the situations, if you follow him, it's a person who's talked mad shit about him. It's a person who was against everything he stood for, and then they go Trump.
Dude, his entire cabinet nominees, every one of them badmouth the shit out of him. I mean, let's be honest. It's mind staggering. It really is. It's crazy.
So, like, you want me to tell you what so far Trump's biggest accomplishment is, and I think it will be his biggest accomplishment for his entire presidency, this 4 years and the last 4 years?
Okay, so now we are on end of January 2025, second term, beginning of his second term. Phil's making a prediction here. So Phil is predicting what Donald Trump's biggest accomplishment is going to be 1 month in of 4 years. I want to hear this.
Unlike my other theories and stuff like this, I think I'll have a lot of people agree with me.
Okay.
And it's just as simple. You've been on this earth long enough, you or study history, and you'll realize that the timeline for politics and radical changes moving forward in governments, it's always been slow. It's always been slow. Pick any empire, pick any little tribe. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
The politics of change has always been slow. And then we had social media come in, and because the average person was able to access so much information and so fast, incrementally sped up political change, just a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
But politicians were still able to say, well, there's weights and balances, and that's the great thing about America is that things don't change so fast. And when it does change, it's a solid foundational move for the country, and blah, 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 right?
Yep, sure.
Trump has said, I'm going to do this as a presidential candidate, come in first few days, and he halfway through his promises. He has had situations with countries and in hours had them solved. Where we're used to, oh God, we're in conflict with Colombia about these planes, so we'll probably be going back and forth with envoys of ambassadors and stuff and phone calls for the next month minimum, let alone, and maybe years. And that's just one example where something that in past history, we're expecting it to take months, maybe years, and he's gotten something done literally in minutes or hours. So I feel like he has literally changed the presidency, and he has changed how future presidential candidates can campaign. When they're asked questions on interviews, they are often the way they get out of a question is basically is give the procrastinate excuse. Well, I'll look into it, but there's process and blah, 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 blah. You can't say that no more. Well, look, President Trump, soon as he got in, all he did was he just signed and he just told those people to do this and he just told those people to do that. You can't, the whole way that you debate in this next presidential thing 4 years is going to be different. And I think the way presidents govern and people perceive their performance over 4 years is going to be far different. If we use him as a template now and go back in past presidents, some presidents that we have been amazed at their achievements, we may question them now and be like, well, man, maybe they could have got a lot more done. So I'm saying his biggest achievement is he's the Steph Curry of presidents. He has changed the game. The way it's played is totally different, and I don't think there's any going back. There's no way that you can be a procrastinator or a BSer. You can still be those things, but you can't do it the way you used to. What do you think?
I 100% agree with you. I'm going to take it a step further. I'm going to go on the record here and say in 100 years from now, you and I will be long done with the podcast, but in 100 years from now, people are going to look back. And by the way, this is, even if you hate Donald Trump and you hate every single one of his policies, in 100 years from now, he's going to go down as one of the most consequential presidents in the history of the United States, period. He's going to be up there with George Washington and Abraham Lincoln and the big presidents that you can think of. He's going to be right there with them. And I agree, it's largely because he has changed the office of the president of the United States permanently. There is no going back. Everybody that gets elected from this point going forward, whether it's Republican or Democrat, is going to have to be an agent of accomplishment and change that happens in real time. I mean, I totally agree with you,
Well
Phil.
said.
And here's the thing is, we have such, even today, not as historians, we have the context in place to see this already. Only a month in, we're not even a month in shit. It feels like we're in 6 months already. We're in eight, we're in like a week and a half.
Bro, that's why I'm in such a hurry to give the prediction, because people are going to start clearly seeing it. You're going to start hearing everybody say it. That's what I said. I think I may be one of the first people saying this, but I definitely don't think I'm alone in the thinking, and I don't think down the road, I believe I'm going to have a lot of people in agreement with me.
Oh, I
and like you said, nothing to do with whether you agree with him or not.
No. Absolutely. The thing is though, this juxtaposition with Joe Biden, who arguably could have been the president that had the least amount accomplished and did the most amount of kicking the cart down the road. And I'll get back. I mean, his press secretary, what's her name with the crazy hair? Her number one line for 4 years was, "I'll get back to you on that. I'll get back to you on that." And I heard the press conference today with Trump's press secretary. I don't even know her name, to be honest.
I'm dying to hear what you're going to say. I'm sure I'm going to contradict this, but go ahead.
Well, the only thing I didn't really hear the whole thing. All I heard was her say the part about when she was asked the question about what percentage or how many of the people that they've rounded up to deport, how many of them were criminals or had a criminal record, and her answer was, boom, I'm not getting back to you on this. They're all criminals because they're here. They've broken a law of the United States by being here. And boom, that was an answer. It was the first answer I've heard in 4 years, to be honest with you. I've never heard a single answer from that other woman. So it's a weird thing to have all of this going on. Look, if you're a press organization right now, you're going to have to hire extra people to keep track of the shit, because every day there's a zillion more things flying around. I had to look this morning to go on to see who's been confirmed on his cabinet, because I don't even know, because I can't remember who got confirmed, who didn't get confirmed, what he said. I mean, you brought up this thing with Colombia. Within an hour, I heard the news say, obviously I look at all the news. So I heard the liberal media talking about, Trump gets shut down. He wants to send a plane in there, and they said no. And then I swear to God, 20 minutes later, whoops, can't talk about this anymore. This story went nowhere. Oh, I guess the plane, they're letting them in now because he basically sat on their ass. So, I mean, I hate to be a news organization right now. It moves so quickly, but I feel like something is getting done.
Right. And I also think that Trump's presidency is going to change the whole style of how reporters and journalists handle interviews with his cabinet and the president and stuff like that. Because when the journalist has an agenda, maybe he's on the opposing side, so to speak, the left or whatever, they will tailor a question in a way that if you give the truthful answer, you sounded like a bad person. And now that a majority of people have said that a lot of the words and pronouns and statements that before would have made me look like a bad person, no, we don't agree with that. And he's chosen people who will say it like it is. That's a challenge for these reporters, because they ask the question and then they get the answer.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And it used to be, do you want to rephrase that? They'd get you in trouble and stuff. All of that is destroyed. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of new journalists pop up on the scene. And this is my prediction. You're going to see some unknown person ask a question at an airport to a politician, and they're just going to blow up because their style is different.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, there's a lot of change. I just saw them. I think they're letting go. Who's the guy on CNN that used to drive Trump crazy in his first term? I forget the guy's name. Ask all those questions and whatever. I heard CNN was letting him go yesterday. So
he's not on the channel. He's at the press conferences.
Correct.
Oh, I thought they had let him go a long time ago.
No, I think they're letting him go now because even I think the networks realized that, you talked earlier about Trump being successful when he's in a position of power. He's in a very strong position of power right now. And that's part of why you and I are talking about getting things happening quickly and changing the presidency. I grew up my entire life, and I'm sure you've said this too, the role of the president is not, we used to say it was a figurehead. He doesn't really have that much power. That's over. That just changed. You can call it whatever the hell you want to call it, dictatorship or oligarch or all this other stuff that people have thrown out negatively. I'm not going to say that this is negative. I'm just thinking that role, he's been able to put people in positions under him in his secretary roles and everything else that are going to actually do what he wants to happen. That's, by the way, where he had limited success in his first term. He picked a lot of people that ended up not doing what he wanted them to do. And I think he's got a lot of people now that are on the same team. I think that's the difference that we're seeing.
I liken it to like McDonald's. No, that's not a good. I liken it to like a Target. Okay. And you want to return something to Target, and you ask for the manager, and then the manager tells you that they can't do anything because of rules and regulations or whatever. Then you go to another store similar to a Target, and the actual store owner is there. And when you talking to the manager, he can actually make a decision and make a change and give you your money, whatever the case may be. It's kind of like that. We've had presidents before that were just the acting manager of the store. Yep. We've actually got somebody in there that when they go to the G10, when they go to all of these NATO, United Nations, all of these things and speaks, he's like the final word. He can really talk with the other kings and this. The other ones, I'm a king. I'm looking at you like, okay, I'm really still just talking to an administrator. He's got to relay this information to people and still get back to me. It's not like that with Trump.
No. And you saw it the other day with Colombia. It's negotiated in the open public. Like this wasn't behind closed doors. He basically tweeted it. And, look, I'm going to put a tariff on if you don't do this, blah, 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 and back and forth. It was open. This wasn't even behind closed doors. So that's different. And you're right. It came from the guy at the top. It wasn't, we didn't fly our Learjets back and forth 300 times with a bunch of envoys, negotiated out over a month and a half to decide that, oh, yeah, that's what's going to happen. And when we all knew it was going to happen anyways. But no, we all knew what was going to happen, and it happened in 10 minutes. So how would you grade his first week of office, Mike? Phil, you're killing me tonight. And I said, do I get to be Travis Kelce by the end of the podcast or not? I just want to know. How would I grade it? Well, I would give him an A+ on action. So I'm an action-oriented. I mean, I might be biased in this. I'm an action-oriented person. Like nothing drives me crazier than when nothing's happening. Like I'm a go kind of person. So I like things happening. And obviously the failure in things happening quickly and lots of stuff and chaos and whatever, you could call it all of those words, means that there are going to be things that happen that I don't like, or that backfire, or that ultimately are not successful, for sure. So I can't say that like all of these things that have happened in week one are gonna stick or are necessarily even good. But I would give him a very high grade on action. He's brought to most people, unless you are just over on MSNBC listening to Talking Points, he's brought some common sense. There's some big common sense stuff that has happened that I like.
Well, and that's why he got elected, because people was looking for some semblance of common sense.
Yes. And you can't fault. I mean, you got to give him credit for doing what he said he was going to do. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he's doing what he said he was going to do by and large. I mean, there's been some exceptions to that, but whatever. But like,
bro, for at least I'd say between 5 to 10 years, I've been feeling like I'm living in an actual that I'm Dorothy. And I landed in the Wizard of Oz, this strange place where everything is totally different than what my reality was before. And everybody's believing this new reality. And I'm like, you don't see the Munchkins, you don't see the Wicked Witch.
Yeah, where are they? And I'm not going to say that, and I respect and understand that there are people that don't like him, and that there are people that don't agree with all his viewpoints, and that, but unfortunately, I'm having a difficult time cutting through the people that are just giving me the old bullshit talking points and I hate Trump because he's orange and he's a dick and he's a narcissist and he's a sexist. And I get all those arguments. I get it. But you got to look at action, right? You still have to look at everything. And those people you can discount.
You got to be
they're never coming around.
You got to be sensible.
Yeah.
Because a majority of people like to look at the presidents and people in different government office, and all they do is basically is keep score. And if they looked into their own life and they kept score the same way, they'd be losing.
Yep. See, I'll tell you what the difference is, and I'll tell you why we're feeling the way we're feeling, is because he has become popular suddenly. He wasn't popular. Let's be honest. I mean, he won basically because he was slightly more popular than Kamala
I disagree,
Harris.
Mike.
You think he was popular before?
I think he has always been popular.
With a certain group.
And
yes.
I believe it was that group was a majority.
Yes, but I agree. However, the group has gotten bigger very recently with some surprising people, though. Like even some of these tech guys that were arguably not on his team. How about like Fetterman from Pennsylvania? Like here's a guy that goes on. I mean, I don't like the guy. I never liked the guy. I never in a million years would see him on The View backing up Donald Trump. I wouldn't have called that 4 years ago. If you paid me $1 billion, I would not have called that.
I agree. But it's something we ain't. It's a part of this that we're not saying, and it's a major part.
Okay.
A lot of these people that we are seeing jumping over the fence and things like that, let's just keep it real. Everybody that was on the other side, it was because it was politically convenient. And once they saw that they could be relieved of pretending that they had certain beliefs and ideologies, they jumped happily across the fence. People are happy now to be able to actually say how they feel. That's what I think a lot of it is.
Agreed. And they're not afraid, even if they're not on his team, they're not afraid to be. He's got some ideas I like. They're not afraid to say that. Before, that was illegal. I mean, you weren't allowed to say that.
And see, right? You're skipping around it again, Mike. It was, okay, you know what? I believe everybody should have an equal chance to get a job. The poor, I feel like we should, as a first world country, do something to figure out how to subsidize these people. There should be uh, a glass bottom that you can't go through in America. But I still think that's a boy and I think that's a girl. And that's what was happening to a lot of people. They had a heart, they care about people, but then they were being asked to just fall in line with all of these crazy other things.
Right. Yeah, and that's the problem, because we got the reason the Democrats lost is because they got the party got sucked into, all of a sudden, that was a big ticket item, was whether or not there was more than two sexes or whatever. And it's nonsensical. It's a nonsensical argument. And now they've been relieved. Like even some of the crazies that I moved from Massachusetts, and some of the crazies up in Massachusetts that are obviously very far to the left, even some of them have come around recently, and now they're relieved of their obligation. And even a couple of those guys have been like, yeah, it's just like, let's just move on. Why don't we tackle something that's important and stop talking about nonsense? I mean, the problem is that some people I'll give you an example of the problem here, though. And this could be the downfall. There are some cracks that could happen to Trump if he's not careful. So he passed. I'll give you an example. I mean, there's lots of them, obviously, but I'll give you an example. Well, and most of those are things that were talked about prior to the election. If you can stay out of that conversation and move forward, you're good. But like he put out that mandate the other day about allowing everybody back into the military with back pay and everything for that were fired or terminated due to not getting the COVID thing. Great. To me, that's just common sense. These people decided, look, you can decide. You want to take the vaccine? You don't want to take the vaccine? Great. I think you should have that choice. However, then he adds on to that thing about, banning trans people.
Oh, from the military. Okay.
From the military.
Mm-hmm.
My opinion on that, I would have left that the fuck alone. I mean, I read somewhere that there's, I forget what, it's like 1.4% or less of 1% of people in the military fall into that category or something. So somebody did a study or whatever. To me, that's being in the weeds. Let's focus on the 99%. I just don't fundamentally think that's I don't care where you stand on it. I just fundamentally don't think it's an argument that we need to have, because all it's doing is dredging back pre-election shit and talking about getting back into this debate about trans. Who gives a fuck? It's just it's in the weeds.
It's an issue because you're talking about the frontline people who protect our country, and it should be the best possible scenario for them to win a war for America.
Totally agree with you.
The second thing is, I forgot what the second thing is.
Well, but I agree. It should be on merit, particularly if it's your front line.
This don't have nothing to do with who I like or dislike or anything like that. It's been heavily researched. There's like at least 100 years worth of research on what I'm about to say, where just one female being involved with troops, what do they call a group of
infantry? Like
you mean a platoon?
Like a platoon, yeah.
Right. Just one affects the production of that platoon. Mm-hmm. There are human resource issues that are introduced every time women are involved that do not exist when it's all male. Mm-hmm. Now you're like, this is about transgender. I'm trying to make you understand that the dynamic of a platoon, the dynamic of an army has a lot to do with the culture, the
Of
morale,
course.
it has
Oh yeah.
safety, legalities, and the actual performance, which
Mhm.
is the main thing with me, the
Agreed.
actual performance of the military. Now you're instituting somebody who there'll be people on both sides. You got men and women already. You're going to have women who have issue with it, and you're going to have men that have issue with it. You've got a whole new dynamic that's far bigger than man woman in the military.
I'm not suggest. Yeah, I agree with you, Phil. I'm not saying that the policy doesn't make sense. I think if I was Trump, I might have back shelved that till later on. I guess that's all I'm saying is, though, I,
We say all that stuff about we love the soldiers and this, that, the other. They should be the first ones on your list to correct things and make them feel more comfortable and be productive.
and I think so far from what I've seen, I do think that there is a focus on that for sure. Look, one of the biggest things he announced this week was making the Iron Dome or whatever over the United States from a military thing. That's a huge. It's $1 trillion proposition, but it's something that we saw actually in action in Israel. It worked. So I mean, I get that. I think Trump is focused on the military. I'm not taking that away from him.
And we've talked about it in previous podcasts. We may be going into a war, one of the biggest one in our lifetime. And if that occurs, we don't need any glitches.
Mm-mm.
So I'm with it, bro.
Okay. Well, that's fair. I mean, I'm not suggesting that I don't agree. I just maybe I would have worded it different. I don't know.
I played team sports, and there's been times where I've played with a coach who had their son on the team.
Yeah.
I've played on a team where the coach was friends with another man and whose son was on the team, things like that.
Totally changes the dynamic.
So, right, and I'm just getting to, I have seen how a team that can have all of the weapons, all of the talent, and they can't win because of dynamics.
Yep.
It's a big deal.
Yeah. I totally agree. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I look, I'm excited that there's some focus on that, and I'm excited that there is a focus on just in general the United States. It's nice hearing from your own government that the focus is on the people of the country. I mean, I think that's something that I've noticed in the last week. I didn't hear that prior to him getting in there. And once again, that's not really a judgment of the people, involved here either. That's just reality. I've heard more about America than before. I just as a funny side here, I just noticed today, I guess Google is named the Gulf of America. So, I mean, but does that surprise you? No,
not at all. I want to cover one more topic before we get out of here, Mike.
That's right. Do I still get to be Travis Kelce now?
Mike, you know what? When I first met you, the reason I walked up to you is because I'm a big Kelce fan, and I thought you were him.
Me? I need to grow a lot.
Yeah, I'm trying to make you feel better.
Okay, good.
So check this out. The new CIA director, John Ratcliffe, ordered the analysis of COVID's origins declassified. And sure enough, the CIA now joins the FBI and Energy Department in assessing that the pandemic most likely originated from a lab leak. A la, they don't use those words, but a la Wuhan laboratory in China.
Yep.
And just a counterpoint on that, 4 intelligence agencies and a national intelligence panel favor the theory that the virus first infected humans through animal transmission.
Mm-hmm.
So they haven't just fully, the government still has entities that are sticking to the old story, but they're slowly they're slowly switching over and finally admitting that yeah, it came from China and it came from the lab. They already forced everybody to take the shots and the booster shots and everything. They already signed it into law and everything. You have no legal recourse whatsoever. What do you think the possibility is of some legal recourse now that the government is admitting this?
You know, hey, I mean, America is fundamentally based on suing people, right? I mean, that's part of I think that's in the Constitution. You have the right to sue people. I'm kidding, but yeah, I mean, and by the way, that might be one of the main reasons why they didn't admit it in the first place, among other reasons. But let's COVID and the pandemic is going to go down as one of the largest boondoggles in the history of the world. And most of what the intelligent people knew 5 years ago or 4 years ago, where are we here, right? It was 5 years ago. Holy hell. Is coming to pass, right? I mean, they say that the passage of time is brings out all truth eventually, right? Or to that effect. And I think that the smart people back then realized what was going on at the time and said a bunch of shit. And, some people believed it and some people didn't. And it became, by the way, that was the beginning of the polarization of the world, was really the pandemic. You got two sides, but I think what you're finding out is that both sides had some validity. And you're finding out that a lot of the stuff that we were given back then, that it didn't come from a lab, that the vaccine is going to save people, that you got to have it, that you got to social distance, that you got to close down every freaking thing in the world is a load of bullshit. I think 5 years on, we can say that it was a load of bullshit. This was largely a situation where it was financial. The drug companies were making a shit ton of money. People were in different pockets. They first, the vaccine came out and they're like, oh, first of all, it's not a vaccine. It's never been a vaccine, never will be a vaccine. I can't even fucking believe that there are people today, Phil, that are still getting booster shots, for fucking sake. Like, I'm not making this shit up. I mean, there are still people doing it, untested, by the way, untested.
On that, they are still administering them.
Yeah.
That's
exactly. Talk about a lawsuit. So, I mean, I'm not suggesting, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist when this comes to this, and I'm not suggesting that there weren't benefits to the vaccine. Look, I got vaccinated, and I'm not suggesting that there were not benefits to it, but to call it a vaccine is a big stretch of the imagination. When, I mean, I had the vaccine, I had 2 boosters, and I've gotten COVID, I don't know how many times, at least 5 or 6. It doesn't work as a vaccine. It maybe helps you some, maybe it doesn't. Does it eventually, do something damage to you in the future? Nobody knows. It's never really been tested. It was tested on people, right?
I've never said this because it sounds like an overkill statement, but it's the truth. COVID for me was an epiphany. I always knew that I wasn't truly free, but I really learned that I'm not free.
No.
When the COVID, because I took the shots. I didn't want to take the shots.
Mm-hmm.
In order for me to live my life the way in the lifestyle that I've chosen,
you had to.
I had to.
That's right.
Whether I wanted to or not.
That's right.
And I'll tell you right now, I did not want to.
And we've learned that you're not
I,
free.
but I mean, but think about the whole thing. They'll say other things, but I was forced to induce drugs that I didn't want in my body.
Mm-hmm.
I was told where I could go, who I could interact with. I was told how far I could be from them and how close I could be to them. I was told how to live my life in detail.
And you're a citizen.
Yes.
And look at the businesses that were told, basically, you can't make money. You have to shut down. You can't do this. You can't do that. There was, I mean, it was devastating to many people unnecessarily.
There are a lot of freedoms that I have spoken adamantly about on the behalf of others, but it was the first time that I personally really felt like, wow, the man is on me.
Yep. It was crazy times. I mean, for me, it was one of the best 2 years of my life from a financial standpoint. My real estate company did great. It was amazing. So there was lots of great things that happened. But let me tell you, like, it's been devastating to many people. In some ways, certain industries and things have never recovered. Certain industries did so well during it that they're still, drug companies is a good example of this, are still on the top of their game. And, a lot of this is it wasn't fair. And the reason I say that is, as a nomad, is somebody that was traveling during that time period. Like, if I was in Massachusetts and I was a restaurant or I was a bowling alley or whatever, I couldn't operate. Meanwhile, if I was in Florida and I had a bowling alley, it was great. We had half price drink night and live band because I was down there. And so depending on where you were and depending on who was in charge is what rule you got. And that was why the country got divided, because it was based on no facts. And at the end of the day, what happened? You had Florida and California, polar opposites, had the same transmission rate, the same amount of people got infected, the same amount of everything, and one had everything open and one had everything closed. So call it for what it is. Don't lie.
That's a good point. And there was an in-between of a Boston and a Florida.
Absolutely.
Traveling around the United States, what I found more of during the COVID was when you'd go into these little small towns, that's how they knew you weren't from that town, is you had a mask on.
That's right.
You walk in the diner, everybody turn around and looking at you like,
yep.
And they want you to leave.
Yep. Yeah.
So and literally they were backed by the sheriff. So they weren't. It wasn't like there were literally little towns and cities where the sheriff was like, "We're gonna do it our way," and everybody was in agreement. So the point I'm making is, government and municipalities and officials all were doing their own little thing, and you were subjected to it.
Yep, depending on where you were.
Yeah.
I know, but what I'm giving you is the 5-year in hindsight. I think we've realized that a lot of it was nonsense, and I'm sure I call them COVID supporters, because there's clearly a group of people that are COVID supporters that I think flourished with it. They loved it. They're still walking around with masks on today. Look, I get that there's a group of, what this was about, Phil? What it was about was a group of people that had comorbidities or pre-existing conditions that were truly and they were truly threatened by this virus. I agree with that. Those people needed to protect themselves. They needed to have social distancing. They needed to have masks. They needed to stay inside. The problem was the vast majority of people, particularly younger people, simply were not affected by this virus any more than they would be affected by the common cold or anything else. or the flu. But the problem was we were trying to put rules on top of everybody to protect the few. I know. I mean, I don't want to sound like Star Trek here, but like, the rule of many outnumbers the one. What did Spock used to say? That's the problem with this whole thing. And I hate to say it, that was pushed by politicians and drug companies.
And I don't believe that things were as major as they portrayed them on television.
No.
And tell me what you saw during this time. During this time, what I saw was on TV, they were saying every hospital is filled to capacity, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm driving around America, passing by hospitals where empty parking lots. I don't see these hazard things. I'm like, this big hospital looks empty damn near.
Yep.
And I saw a lot more of that than I saw. Matter of fact, I didn't see any hospitals like how I saw on TV. I saw none of that.
No. Well, and a lot of it was media chaos, right? So like I had a friend that had a girlfriend that was called into action and sent onto one of those two boats or whatever they had parked in the Hudson River or near the Statue of Liberty in New York. And because they were going to have floating hospitals, remember? And that thing was there for about, 2 weeks. And then they determined, hell, we don't need that. The hospital's not that, but meanwhile on TV, all you hear about is there's extra hospitals that are floating. There's
beds and respirators.
Yeah, and freezer trucks are parked outside with bodies and all this stuff. Like, and the reality is I'm not suggesting that the COVID or the pandemic was fabricated. I'm suggesting the hysteria around it was fabricated.
I don't think it was fabricated. I think it was inflated.
Inflated for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Inflated for sure.
Because when you look at the numbers, Mike, there was a slight uptick in deaths if you compare them year over year for flus. That's something I guess people don't understand.
If you look at the numbers, the second year in, there's all of a sudden 0 people died of the flu. It's like, well, I mean, who are they trying to fool on this? It's like the stupidest thing.
A lot of people, unless they have respiratory issues or an elderly person in their family or whatever, most people do not realize that millions of people die every year of the flu.
Yes.
And it's been every year of your life.
Exactly. And look, most of us know somebody that died of COVID, or at least I do. And I'm going to put a qualifier on this, or died of COVID related, which means that you died during COVID.
That's where I was headed. Where I was headed.
Yeah. So, and by the way, that was also financial, right? Because look, if somebody died of COVID, the hospital got more money. So look, I mean, I hate to say this, I don't want to turn it into a whole conversation about everything has to do with money, but everything has to do with money. I mean, that's the bottom line, right?
I was like, where's he going with this? Mike, this was a good one.
Hey, would you think we were going to be talking about the pandemic 5 years out here on the podcast today? No, you wouldn't, but hey, we did.
No.
Why not?
One day we need to actually do a podcast dedicated to traveling during that time.
Yeah, we definitely should.
Most people were, very sedentary at home, living or whatever. That was an experience.
Yeah, in 30 seconds, I'll tell you, I had two sides of the COVID thing. I was building my first rig when I was about to go full time on the road. So I spent the first 6 months of COVID in what I would call lockdown prison in the state of Massachusetts, where it was the hotbed of the pandemic. Let me tell you, there was nobody, maybe California, but I would say Massachusetts was pretty much tied. And then I spent a better part of a year traveling on the road during the pandemic, largely in the South, night and day different, night and day difference. So I would love to have a podcast talking about that and the various different places that I traveled to and what I saw. And we could talk about what people believed, right, wrong, or indifferent in all those different places, because it's fascinating. It's particularly fascinating to talk about it now as we start to find out the real truth behind what actually was going on.
Yes, because a lot of stuff that I got to say and that I have said in the past in groups where people questioned me or whatever, I feel validated now.
For sure.
People have literally told me, no, you didn't experience what you experienced.
Yep. I just remember 5 years ago, somebody trying to tell me that any mask, regardless of what it was made out of, was going to be effective.
Yes. All right, guys, you know what I'm going to say. Stay safe, tread lightly, and hopefully I'll see you here or on the trail soon.
You have been listening to Waypoint Overland's Random Waypoints. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more.